Okay, I have been through a roller coaster of emotions in the last 15 minutes. Maybe that's overstating it a little bit, but let's just get into it. So it's about 8 o'clock, and I'm thinking, all right, hamstrings and calves plus adductors, pretty chill lift. You know, 1 hour total, including like walking into the gym. That's enough. Planet Fitness is open till 9:30. So get in the car, drink my little scoop of bloodshot, my scoop and a half of hostility, the likes of which I'm already feeling the beta alanine from. And I get a little anxious. I get a little antsy, and I'm like, does Planet Fitness close at 9:30 or do they close at 9? What do you think happened? 9. So half for a second, I'm like, oh shit, okay. 30-minute workout. Let's go. That'd be fucking. That would not be ideal. Now, if this were the only gym I had access to and I had nothing else, then that is what I would do, and that is what I would recommend doing. Even if you've got to cut your workout short, well, okay, there may be a limit of shortness that you can cut it down to, but who knows? Maybe you had chest planned, but you couldn't get into the gym until maybe 30 minutes until closing. Yeah, maybe instead of chest, just do fucking, I don't know, 30 minutes of tries. Get in there and do something, and then just save chest for the next day. It's not like it's going to hurt you to miss a day. I try to be kind of clear about that with the rest days. They're not going to hurt you. They're probably going to fucking help you. But I don't think it's so night and day. And being a gym addict such as myself, every time I wake up, I want that to be followed by a lift in between going to sleep. That's just sort of that's my prime directive. But so Planet Fitness 9 o'clock closed. I gotta find somewhere else, and I thought I was screwed because all the other gyms around me closed at 6. But my the Anytime Fitness, as the name would suggest, shit man, that mofo is open anytime. But I lost my little key fob. So I didn't think that was on the table. All I had to do was look it up, download a little app. I can get access on the phone. So little 10-minute freak out for nothing. Hamstrings, calves, and adductors is going to go on just fine. So plan there. There's a laying hamstring curl. There's a seated hamstring curl, which I like. Those are definitely going to be the two machines that I use the most. And then adductors, we all get it. Adductor machine, squeeze your legs together. Calves, you can get a little creative. I've got kind of a variety of movements I like for calves. I love seated calf raises. The standard fucking plates in front of you. You're sitting down, whatever. Love those. Standing calf raise, where it's got the pads on your shoulders, I'm not really the biggest fan. It's a little bit unstable. I feel a little wobbly. The point of contact, which I'm trying to lift the weights from, is my my feet, obviously my ankles, my calves, and then having the load all the way up here at my shoulders. It just seems a little unnecessary because it's kind of taken my whole body into the equation, which just to hit calves, I feel like you don't really need to. And I know the argument of anybody who maybe thinks they know their shit about calves, or does know their shit about calves, is you can hit them in a seated position, right? Like a seated calf raise, your legs are bent, or you can hit them with your legs straightened, and then it's going to activate different parts of your soleus, your gastrocnemius, your fucking sasceuchemius, whatever. So I do like to kind of add in maybe half and half. Like some days I might just do the seated calf raise. Some days I might do calf raises on the leg press. Just to hit them in that slightly different way. No matter how I do it, either calf raises with straight legs or with bent legs on the seated calf raise, I still always end up with a pump. I still feel nice and fatigued. But it is good to hit everything in as many different ways as you can. Chest, you can do flies, but you can also do pressing. Right? Back, you can do rows and pull downs and pullovers. Legs, you got or quads, you got pressing movements and leg extensions. It's not like doing one movement and just fucking spamming it isn't going to give you a good lift on that particular day. But over time, I think it's probably a pretty good idea to hit everything from every angle you could think of. So if you see someone do something a little bit funky, something maybe you wouldn't necessarily say, this seems like a good idea. Shit, man, maybe they're onto something. Maybe you got to try it. Who knows? Maybe that's like the greatest calf raise that you've ever seen, even though he's taken like 2 plates, a band, and the Smith machine to do it. So, I guess all I'm trying to say there is keep an open mind. But the logic of doing half of a leg day here, just hamstrings, calves, adductors instead of quads in the mix too, is because chest is chilling. I'm going to chill out on chest for a tad bit longer. The last thing you want to do is retweak something. I feel like that's how, except for really abrupt injuries, like if somebody really gets their shit rocked, you kind of have to wait for it to come back before you even start going. But there's this middle ground of an injury where you tweak something, something feels weird, you have a crunchy rep somewhere, and then you get back under the weight too early, and then you hurt it again, even worse than you did the first time. And more likely than not, it's just a cycle of pain and uncomfortability, the likes of which I want to avoid as much as possible. So I'm going to give chests just a touch longer. Just a touch longer. Sitting here flexing it right now, like just really fucking hitting. I feel like I'm trying to pull the steering wheel off its handle, off its hinges. Feels good, but I do want to chillax a little. Do want to chill. So any update there, just gotta wait and see. But I definitely foresee some heavy benching coming in within the next 2 weeks. Probably a week and a half-ish, but don't want to push it. So since I have a dedicated chest day, that means that whole day is gone. I got a whole day of nothing, which I don't really want to have. Right? Like I was saying, I'm kind of a fucking nut. I want to get into the gym every day. So instead of just having an empty day, I'll split up what was usually a full leg day into 2 parts. So this is like leg day part 1, posterior chain, and then tomorrow will be quads. And once chest is back into the rotation, then hamstrings is going to get combined with quads again, and we can get back into the normal chest, back, arms, legs split with delts thrown in on occasion. So I think that's pretty much all I gotta say, man. Heavy ass hamstring curls, moderately heavy calf raises, adductors to finish it. Basic lift, but certainly I was about to say progressive. That sounds half right. Whatever. Let's just hope it's not too busy and get started. Probably to no one's surprise, I've warmed up. Now I want to just kind of throw the stack around. I'll be reasonably controlled for the first however many reps I'm strong. But once I reach enough fatigue that I couldn't pause it at the bottom, or I can't even get to the bottom anymore, and I can only get to right here, I'm just going to keep burning out with partials. I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't be an effective set to do 12 really good reps and then rack it, wait a few minutes, do it again. 12 really good reps, and that's a total failure. I mean, you're still doing work, but in my mind, it just kind of makes sense. Why wouldn't you want to do your set as hard as you can until you physically cannot go anymore? It's almost like there's a built-in end goal already, just due to the nature of the fact that eventually you're going to be able to not fucking be able to lift the weight. So based on that, plus how it gives me, you know, or not how it gives me, but the pump, as well as just the amount of fatigue and burn I get from it. I like this style. If you want to do your 3 reps in reserve, whatever, as long as you're training hard, you're still going to get results. This is just kind of how I like going about it. And that's something you've got to sort of see for yourself over time, you know? I mean, maybe you just fucking... I was about to say you wouldn't benefit from going to failure in all your sets. Now that's fucking crazy. Now I'm starting to say some craziness. No, let's just pick a good song and go nuts. Okay. Oh. Let's repeat that a couple times. Oh, God. Okay. I'm thinking, holy shit. That's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking a few more here. Since I'm splitting legs into 2 days, I'm not sure this is the correct ideology, but something about having a whole day just for hams and a whole day just for quads, I feel like it makes me really want to just obliterate each one back to back, even maybe a little more so than normal. Whew. But let's keep busting these f***ers out, or these effers out. I do think about that. I'm trying not to drop so many F-bombs. I just can't help it. Oh, God. Okay. Let's do 2 more. Holy shit. Ah. Yeah, 1 more, and then there's a laying curl to my right. Let's bust out some of those as the finishers. Oh my. Oh my God. That's enough. That is definitely enough seated curls. Oh, let's do some laying curls. Maybe a little lighter. Focus a bit more on the squeeze. Not that I wasn't squeezing on these last sets here, but I'd say the primary, what's the even word I'm even trying to think of? Maybe the primary factor I was trying to max out on this set was hamstring tension. Maybe hamstring fucking destruction. Because you gotta think, you know, with much heavier loads, you may not be able to get so good of a squeeze. And you know what I'm saying, if you try to curl the fucking 60s, you're not really gonna have an awesome moment up here where you just hold the weight for a moment, really squeeze, and then go back down. That's kind of reserved for lighter weights, which you can execute in that kind of way. So this was definitely the far side on the spectrum of my style of sets, going from heavy, just fucking nuts reps to slower controlled squeezing reps. I think bouncing in between this realm, you're gonna have some good lifts. You know, I don't think you can do all crazy heavy sets. I think your pump may be a little bit neglected, right? If I do a chest day, I'm probably gonna prefer that it ends with flies and isn't all just pressing. Not that a pressing lift would be bad, but you know, that's just kind of how I like it. I know I'm gonna get a better pump with some cable flies and pec deck at the end. So same logic here. Heavy fucking nut sets, followed by some maybe lighter, slower controlled squeezing sets over there. And that's gonna add up to a fucking perfect hamstring day in my book. Holy shit. I have never used a hammer strength. Can I sit on this? Yeah, we're good. I have never used a fucking hammer strength hamstring curl. This is the first time. Or at least a hammer strength laying curl. And it feels fucking cool. But I am definitely fucking weakened from those previous sets. I mean, even doing fucking half the stack, or barely a little more, it's gonna be hard. So these, it'll be a, I'd probably go so far as saying it's a little more of a mental battle with these sets. For me, just for whatever reason, it's not very tricky for me to just load up a ton of weight and burn out reps until I can't fucking move. Longer, more endurance-based sets, I think that's where I struggle a little more. So I really got to make sure to, you know, push it once these start getting hard. But good squeeze, hold it. You get the deal. Okay. Two more like that. Whew. This is the best hamstring pump I've had in a while. Oh my goodness. Love it. Okay. One more. Last one, gnarliest one, and then we can see if my hamstrings look any bigger than they did before. I guess I should have done a fucking pre-pump check. I get comments asking about that. I should start doing those some more. Like pre-back day, do some poses with no pump, and then do a side-by-side comparison. But whatever. Next time, if I remember. Okay. Ah, okay. Let's find a good mirror and fucking get these pants off. Okay. I'm still huffing and puffing from hamstrings. That was a good ass amount of work. I'm lucky, man. I'm lucky with hamstrings. I'm not, well, it's not hard for me to go hard on hamstrings. Legs, I think this goes for most people. It's hardest to go hard, just kind of subjectively. Like, obviously, I'm not saying I'm going to go easy on any of my lifts for sure, but there's a reason people skip leg day. It's just fucking difficult. A hard set of curls, what do you think? 3 times easier just overall than a hard set of leg extensions? Maybe there's something about the energy expenditure, but who cares? At the end of the day, good hamstring lift. Now let's just see if the hamstring pump follows. Honestly, not my favorite lighting setup, but what are you gonna do? Ooh, dude, even sitting down. This is another reason why I like hamstrings before squats or hamstrings before quads whenever I do a full leg day. It's it almost sounds like I'm cheating in a way, but if you squat with a full-on hamstring pump, I don't mean just like warmed up hamstrings. I'm talking hamstrings pumped to shit. Then you almost get like a little bit of extra pep in your step, a little bit of extra spring in the bottom of the reps, just because your hamstrings are literally running into your calves. So let me scoot this back just a touch. Oh. All right, what do you think? A hamstring pump is a little lackluster. They kind of lose their what's the word? They kind of lose their separation when they're pumped up, sort of like triceps in a way. So maybe not my most impressive subjectively, but dude, they are full of fucking blood. Oh my goodness. Like 90 is as far as I can fucking bend them. Very nice. Very freaking nice. So let's just sit down and have a little chit chat before we get into calves. Calves and adductors. I'll just do adductors at the end, just because they're very chill. Adductors, I mean, I'm not doing sets to like fucking absolute failure. Like I'm not sitting here getting hyped up and breathing hard like I am for those sets of seated hamstring curls and leg hamstring curls. But there's a pretty good burning sensation going on. So actually, I don't know what the fuck I was about to discuss. My mind just totally blanked. Maybe all the blood that was about to form a badass, awesome, motivational speech accidentally got siphoned into my hamstrings. So none of that for you. Let's just go get calves started. I do not come to this gym often, but I think I'm gonna have to start. It's fucking sick in here. Anybody busting out some powerlifting training? I'm sorry to flex on you with the fucking mono lift. Whoopsie. You just gotta deal with the squat rack if that's all you have access to. I don't know. I feel like you gotta be a total nut to really need the mono lift. I'm talking like squats in the, let's just call it the danger zone level of weight. But enough of that randomness. So calves, I like a lot of weight. I think that's not a surprising statement, but I've been liking little slower controlled calves too. Honestly, for a long time, the way I trained calves was I'd maybe throw an extra plate on, actually probably an extra 2 plates on, and really just bounce it. And I do that for every set, which I'd get pretty fatigued. I get a good pump, but I've been biasing a bit more slow controlled sets. Just really hold it at the top, good squeeze. I've definitely been focusing on getting a better stretch in the bottom. But I mean, still sometimes I'm going to throw on a lot of weight, do some bouncy reps, or maybe I'll drop a plate, do only 2, and do more squeezing shit. So it's whatever. It's like I was saying before. You got a gradient of styles. If you just bounce around between them all, you're probably going to do something right. Oh. Okay. Let's just repeat that same weight for a couple. Okay. Let's add a plate. Yeah. Based on volume, fatigue, and pumpedness, I can say we're done, so let's go see how calves look pumped up. Let's just give calves special treatment. They're the star of the show for the next, well, probably only one fucking minute. Oh, come on. How you boys looking down there? I mean, that's a good amount of meat. I'm definitely not dissatisfied with my calf development, but as any good lifter's mindset should be, or actually maybe don't take that as something to follow, but never enough. I want these mofos to be twice as wide and twice as thick. So let's go sit down on the adductor machine, squeeze my legs together for like 5 or 6 sets, and then get out of here. All right, really not much to say here, and definitely nothing to see. I don't know if there would even be much change doing a fucking adductor pump check. But what's the point? Why am I going to sit here and do these? Well, for one thing, thicker inside of your thighs. So from the front, legs are going to look bigger, which any sentence which includes the word looks bigger, gets bigger, love it. Right. And then on pressing movements, squats, machine leg press too, even though I don't really do too much of that, you're going to be much more stable. I think having a big ass, maybe not even big ass, but strong set of adductors, right? The wobbly factor that you're going to have on any of your heavy pressing, I mean, squats especially, when you got the weight all the way up here on your fucking back, and your only other connection point is your feet, you've got to be pretty stable all throughout. And I think having a at least reasonably strong pair of adductors is going to do that for you. So I'll just show the one. I'm going to sit here playing my phone for like 5 or 6 sets. I'm just going to go until I get a pretty good burn, stop, and then do another one. I would say I don't hit adductors with the same intensity of everything else, but kind of, yeah, maybe that's a cop out. Maybe before every set I should be smelling salts, but whatever. Let's just bust this first one out, and then for you we can cut to the car. But for me, I'm gonna sit here for 5 or so more. Okay. All right. That times 5 for you. Let's buckle up. All right, it turned into a goddamn winter wonderland when I was in there. Maybe not that crazy, but just a little bit snowy. Just a little. So, plan now. I mean, look, I wasn't there when they came up with it, but I'm beginning to be kind of obsessing over something. I think the Caniac was named after me, man. Fuck. The way I've just been chowing down on them. I mean, there's just no other way. There's no other way that could be the case. So that's the plan for post-workout. Caniac, 3 extra pieces of toast, 3 extra tenders, 3 extra sauces. Hit the fucking Caniac times 1.5. And then a variety of other foods when I get home. I just got a bunch of top sirloins. This guy's trying to fucking hit me. So, how was your lift today, man? Right? Take an honest look at it. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't be too hard on yourself either. But did you really push it to your limit? Did you really have a day where you can say with certainty, after all your sets and after all the weights are racked and all the machines are wiped, did you really go hard? Now, look, I'm not gonna rip on you, and you shouldn't rip on yourself if the answer is no. Right? Sometimes it happens, but you got to realize once it's done, you had maybe a scrappy lift. It's in the past. It's over. It already happened. There's nothing you can do about it. But that doesn't mean that that's the end of the story. Right? Now, you're you after doing kind of a scrappy lift. So, what do you want to do, man? Is that your new bar? Is that the level at which you want to say, that's as much as I can do? I can't go any harder than that. I can't do a little drop set. That's it. Do you want to say that? Or do you have some goddamn fire in your heart? And do you want to say, that was fucking bullshit? I'm coming back with a vengeance. It's a little cheesy. It's actually very cheesy to say it like that. But, I mean, the idea that I'm trying to get at, I still stand behind totally. Everybody knows. Everyone has that voice. It may not even be in the back of your head. It might be right there in the forefront, where you finish a set and you know. You don't even have to think about it. The fucking thought just emerges spontaneously from your mind. Either, ideally, holy shit, that was a good one. Or, I could have done more. I could have done a couple more. I could have gone harder. And the more often that second voice takes hold of you, the less likely it is that you're going to be, having good lifts. I guess actually the more often that voice comes into your head, that's just proof that you haven't been really pushing it. But just because you've kind of had that thought doesn't mean that you can't up the ante and start going hard. So all I'm really trying to say is if you know you're doing your set and you're not really pushing yourself, you're leaving gains on the table in a variety of ways. For one thing, which I do kind of get lumped in with thinking that this is my primary goal, of course, out of everything, is if you do scrappy sets, you're going to have a scrappy build, man. Right? The dudes who seriously push it, you know them. You don't even have to be buddies with them. You don't have to talk to them. But you know the dudes in your gym where when they start lifting, everybody gets a little more serious. And I don't mean like everybody just shuts up. Like that clip when Chris Bumstead takes his hoodie off and he's got his tank and he's like Olympia ready. I'm not talking about that level. Obviously that's fucking badass. But just the dudes who push it. And they don't even have to look insane. They don't have to be huge. They don't have to be whatever. They could be a 160-pound dude, right? Starter. But if that intensity is there, it's infectious. And not necessarily always the case of, making everyone around them push themselves harder too. But the fact that when you know somebody next to you is actually going nuts, and not in like a TikTok joke way where they're like, yeah, like making faces. I mean, like a legit fucking, I mean, honestly, a fucking nutcase going crazy on the leg extension to the point of, well, beyond anywhere close to comfort for at least the normal uninitiated layman, right? So, you know when that guy's around you. And I'm sure that even me saying this, you've got a couple of people that pop into your head, you know. So those are the kind of guys you're going to want to emulate. You're going to want to replicate. I was about to say annihilate. No, that's not. No, that's not right. That's not what I was trying to say there. But even the dudes at your gym, you know who's going hard. And if you can tell they're going twice as hard, 3 times as hard as you are, pick up the slack, man. Pick up the fucking slack. It's kind of, I feel strange. I always feel a bit weird saying motivational stuff. It always kind of, like, it comes out cool. Like, maybe I say something really cool, and you're like, holy crap, that's badass. But a lot of the times I kind of feel like I'm just saying it to say it in a way, you know? Because I feel like the people who really want it, they don't need me to tell them to go hard. They don't need me to say shit. All they need to do is have a gym at their disposal, get some protein in their system, and go nuts. So I kind of feel like that's the end goal of a lifter. The end goal mental state of the lifter is such that for him to walk into the gym and do a workout where he pushes himself and he pushes his sets to the absolute limit, it's not even a challenge. I talk about this before. In a lot of ways, to really excel at something, there's a lot of contradictory states, right? Like, I'm saying that a dude who's a real nut and he can really push himself hard, he's pushing his sets to the absolute limit. He's going insane. For him, it's easy to do that, right? So that doesn't make sense. Shouldn't it be hard? No, man, because he's become proficient at it. The longer that you do this shit, the easier that it becomes. But you kind of have to keep doing it. Any BoJack Horseman fans, let me see if I can remember this quote right. Fuck, what is it? What does that monkey say? He's like, it gets easier, but you got to do it every day. Whatever. You get what I'm saying? Right? The nut who's been in here for years, it's not hard for him to go to failure. It's not hard for him to go past failure. So that should be the goal. That should be something you're trying to emulate. That's always something I kept an eye on. Whether or not it was fueled by some kind of I mean, I don't know. I'd need a psychiatrist to really dive deep into my motivations to lift, because as far as I can tell, I just fucking like it. Muscle strength, everything. It just scratches me right where I need it. But even when I was a fucking beginner 160 pounder floating around the YMCA, when god damn, what's his name? I don't know. When I was a 160 pounder, there was what I would guess to be a 280 pounder at my fucking gym. And he was serious. When he lifted, he didn't really chat with anybody. He was doing his thing. He was in the zone. And he was a fucking freak. He still is. I really need to remember his name. But dude's benching 405. He's benching 405 easy. I'm not talking like my sets were, if I'm feeling strong on incline, I'll do like my 8 reps. He's going fucking 4 reps. 405 was his bread and butter. So seeing that kind of stuff, it's just fucking cool, man. So let me just try to finish off this statement before I roll into the Cane's drive-through. But I'm going to go on a little bit of a different tangent here now. But that's one thing that I fucking love about social media. I mean, with everything, anything ever, right? There's use and then there's overuse. So scrolling on TikTok for 7 hours a day, you're probably in that overuse range. It's not effective. It's not a tool anymore, right? But you're able to see the top 0.1 fucking 0.1 0.00001% of anybody in any field. And honestly, I think being able to see the pinnacle of something like that, it makes it more achievable for you. And I know that doesn't sound right, because it almost sounds like, well, why would you compare yourself to so and so? They're the fucking genetic this, that, and the other, whatever. You know, you can't compare yourself to that. Come on, man. Don't you have any fucking sense of, what's the word I'm trying to think? Not luck. Not luck. Somewhere in between luck and pride or something like that. Because when you see anybody doing anything, you got to remember, they're just a dude like you, man. Before they started doing whatever they do, they were just an average fucking Joe. Right? So that's kind of how I like thinking about it. Plus, it's like to see the bar as raised as it can get, it makes it easier to reach higher up for it. You know, I mean, we see this all the time. Fucking Olympic records, everything. As soon as one dude, I mean, I love this sort of idea, this statement. It's like if a fucking 100-meter dash record is locked in at 10 seconds, nobody can fucking do it. You know, it's just fucking impossible. As soon as that one dude breaks it, as soon as one dude shows that it's possible to get into the nines, then fucking everybody's doing it. So that one dude who got there, he's a total nut. He was able to do it before anybody else could. But to just show that something like that's possible, to have that proof in your mind, it makes it so much easier, man. Right? I mean, I think that's probably about as far as I can go there. I can't really think of any other cool kind of analogies in that way. But I think I'll just finish off talking about kind of sets, intensities. So I don't want to get into training styles or rep schemes or fucking science-based power whatever, right? When you see a dude and he's doing his set like an absolute beast, right? He's got a bazillion plates on squat and he's doing rep after rep. He's got a bazillion pounds of a dumbbell curl and he's just fucking throwing that shit around like nothing. You gotta remember, for him, that's just whatever working weight it is. That's just some portion of his strength level. So for me personally, and I think for anybody who's kind of got a relatively firm grasp on reality and isn't too egotistically motivated by weight, right? I'm more impressed, or I get more hyped up by seeing kind of maybe an earlier lifter, and he can squat 225 for 8. That's his max. And he's pushing it to the absolute fucking limit. Like, hit the last 3 sets of this 225 squat are like just fucking demonic. You can tell it's like life or death level. Just, he's fucking going crazy. He's pushing it to his limit. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of forget, is your limit's different than somebody else's, right? But your intensity is only determined by how close you can get to your own limit. So sure, it's cool seeing some dude, you know, repping out 315 for 20, or, you know, whatever else. But it's, yeah, whatever. I'm getting into too much chit chatting. My stomach's starting to grumble for this fucking Canes. So take with that what you will, if there was anything cool in there for you. But main ideas: go hard. Actually, fuck, I guess that's the main idea. Go hard. So, Canes, steak at home, sirloin, mashed potatoes, a big ass Bolt House green machine smoothie, and then I'm just gonna cozy on up in bed, tuck myself in, and have a dream about quads tomorrow. And of course, it goes without saying, 30 minutes of blank in the morning. Do I have to add a trigger warning every time I talk about cardio? Based on some of the comments, I think I might have to. Whatever. Keep pushing it. That's all I gotta say. I'll see you tomorrow for quads and maybe something else. Maybe an accessory body part. Maybe I'll throw forearms in. And who knows? Maybe I'll just do quads. We'll see. I gotta see how I freaking feel. But no matter what, I'll fucking see you next time for that, man.